Hello there, you just right tuning in to Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a great and productive day. And now, this is what is coming up on edition tonight. Speaking at the kickstart of this year's Transform Africa Summit, President Paul Kagame has urged African countries to unite efforts in developing technology, particularly digital literacy on the continent. In just a month, over 500 bodies of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi victims have been found in the property owned by the Mibirizi parish. Good evening once again, and it's my pleasure, and I'm glad to have your company tonight. Coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Sam Kalisa. And as we start it off tonight, President Paul Kagame points out that more than 60% of internet users in Africa do not properly use it due to lack of knowledge on how to use it, and it should be used in general. He urges African countries to unite efforts in developing the technology. President Paul Kagame reiterated this during the 6th Transformation Africa, which is currently taking place in Zimbabwe. Olive Nete starts us off tonight.
The 2023 Transform Africa Summit brought together 2,000 people from around the world. It is a leading annual forum bringing together heads of states and governments, business people from the private sector, and international organizations. The Chief Executive Officer of Smart Africa, Lassina Nkone, points out that this forum started small, but that it is currently expanding.
By working and collaborating together, we have grown from 7 member states in 2013 into an alliance of a 36 member state representing a population of more than 1.1 billion people, and we are still growing. From 3 member states with a capital of $600,000 in 2023, the Secretariat of the Smart Africa Alliance has grown to more than 50 staff members and a capital of $23 million.
On the first day of the summit, it was attended by various heads of states, including President Paul Kagame, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, the President of Zambia, His Excellency Lazarus Chakwera of Malawi, King III Mswati of the Kingdom of Eswatini, and His Excellency Emmerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, who reiterated on the importance of speeding up the development of technology.
Your Excellency, distinguished guests, the modernization and industrialization of our great continent urgently requires the adoption of science, technology, and innovation. The first world was built because they focused on science and technology, which we are embracing now ourselves. But we should now move fast and leapfrog and even surpass the West. Partnerships are essential for Africa to leap forward and build capabilities in the science and technology.
President Paul Kagame notes that broadband has been rapidly expanded throughout countries, but he underlines that 60% of Africans who have access to the internet do not utilize it properly, owing to insufficient knowledge on how to use it.
Everyone has to be connected to affordable broadband and have a smart device. Mobile broadband has been spreading rapidly, but more than 60% of Africans who have access do not use it. We need to keep reducing costs. Part 2. A big piece of the puzzle is the digital skills and literacy. One reason many Africans are not taking full advantage of the internet is that they are not yet comfortable with the interface, or it is in a language they don't understand. We need to make the digital identities of individuals and businesses portable across borders while using technology to reduce barriers to trade. All of these items are within our power to achieve.
This year's summit was attended by 5 heads of states, international organizations, and private companies at the international level. This forum started in 2013 in Rwanda and expanded on the African continent. The summit collaborates on new ways of shaping, accelerating, and sustaining Africa's ongoing digital revolution. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Olive. Moving ahead, on Thursday, the Minister of State in charge of EAC in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Professor Nshuti Manasseh, arrived in Burundi, where he delivered a message from Rwandan President, His Excellency Paul Kagame, to his Burundian counterpart, His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye. Moving ahead, Rwandan citizens and foreigners who work from Rwanda say that technology facilitates their daily activities thanks to the Smart Cities, a project that is being implemented by the Smart Africa Secretariat. Jessica Gasaro.
In May 2017, at the Transform Africa Summit, which was attended by heads of state and government, the Smart Cities program was launched to promote the use of technology in all services in the African cities, including Kigali. In the city of Kigali, the Tugende Cashless program, aimed at promoting cashless payments, has taken root and is being used in various forms of services in public transport, as explained by Winnie Mutabazi from Centrica, a company that makes integrated payment card.
nuko ari ikarita ifite ikora mu buryo bubiri uyifite ushobora kuyikoresha muri transport.
So it is a card that works in two ways. You can use it on transport and you can use it while shopping. For example, if you're going to the supermarket, you're buying different products. Instead of paying with money, you can use the card and enter your PIN at the POS. Also, you can also use it at ATM machine at different banks and withdraw money.
Kuri banki zigiye zitandukanye ukabikuza amafaranga.
Despite in the city of Kigali, technology is being also used to provide various services in rural areas. For instance, drones are used to spray anti-mosquito spray in wetlands in order to fight malaria, which kills the many lives, as explained by Alex Mukeza, senior drone pilot at Cheris.
You know that in the past, we used to have what we called manual labor with the pump. But since we have started using drones, we have a good results because the drones arrive everywhere. That is to say that it is effective because they conducted a study and found that malaria has decreased significantly.
Some of those who were at risk of malaria testify that since this program has started, they are not at risk anymore.
I have a wife and children. I used to get malaria about 4 times a year, but now I only get it once a year.
The mayor of City of Kigali states that the Transform Africa Summit has led to initiation of various technology services.
Services z'irembo ni muziko zaje muri gahunda ya Smart Africa.
Irembo services are part of the Smart Africa program, and Irembo services are increasing and have reached to 101. All services we deliver to residents should be easy for them to use, such as Tap and Go. There are other services that we have started to collect, including collecting garbage from homes using technology. But we started with small markets, but we can expand it to where we know if the garbage is full.
Kimenyetso ko yuzuye kandi yanatandukanijwe.
We welcome you to the 6th Transform Africa Summit.
At the 6th Transform Africa Summit, one of the priorities of the participant was to have a continent with an economy worth more than $700 billion based on technology. The Smart Africa Secretariat, based in Kigali, has $102 billion in pending technology projects. Jessica Agasaro, RTV News.
In just a month period, over 500 bodies of the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi have been found in the property owned by the Mibirizi parish. The activities to find the bodies kicked off at the end of March this year after discovering the first body in this particular property. Ghislaine Mugwaneza.
On 23rd March, Mibirizi parish started terracing its field through seeded project. And that is when the first body of the victim of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi got discovered. This made Rusizi district officials to destroy the terraces that were built before in order to find other bodies. The genocide survivors in Mibirizi sector expressed their gratitude to the government for helping them to find their people, but also have a request. This was done by the past regime, and those who were in position at that time, some of them are still alive. Whoever knows where they had put our people. Our current government is peaceful and united one. We forgave them and rebuilt ourselves. We're asking them to do us a favor and tell us where our people are, so that we can lay their bodies and be at peace.
Those people who are not proving information should understand that they are in a good and peaceful country. They should understand that they are forgiven. So they should give information to the families in need. There is no way you can live in harmony with someone who doesn't want to give you information of where to find your people for all these years.
The activities to discover more bodies will continue. However, there are challenges being faced, including not having actual facts that the discovered bodies belong to a certain family. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Still on Kwibuka 29, on Wednesday, the Ministry of Education, together with its affiliated institutions, held a commemoration event for the employees of the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, the Ministry of Higher Learning Education, Research and Culture, and those who worked for the preschool printing who were killed during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The event was held at the Kigali Genocide Memorial, and 77 employees of the former ministries in charge of education were remembered. It was highlighted that education was one of the tools that were mostly used and became effective to spread hatred and genocide ideology, and as a result, some of those who worked in the education sector participated in the mass killings. The Minister of Education, Dr. Valentin Wamadia, consoled those who lost their families in the atrocities. She further reiterated that the journey of unity and reconciliation that the country embarked on is a responsibility of every Rwandan, including those who work in the education sector.
It is the journey that Rwanda embarked on, following the politics of division and hatred that resulted into the genocide against the Tutsi. Following the genocide, Rwanda looked like a totally failed state. But we have now made a step in the journey of rebuilding ourselves, from the survivors and Rwandans in general. This is thanks to the good leadership that promoted the unity of Rwandans and the development of the country. As educators, parents in the Rwandan community in general, we have a responsibility to teach Rwandan children to fight genocide ideology, explain to them the reason behind commemorating and honoring the victims, and teaching them the history of the country in general. To educators, it is necessary to make sure that education today becomes the source of building the unity of Rwandans and fighting genocide ideology.
You are still watching Rwanda Television News. Moving ahead, legal advisors advise those who are about to get married to understand the law governing persons and the family, and to be informed on the law governing matrimonial regimes in order to prevent further inconveniences that may hinder their marriage.
Innocent Benimana and his future spouse have already chosen how they will manage their properties. They both say that discussing and planning before marriage on how they will manage their property is crucial in building a long-lasting marriage.
My wife and I have already made a decision because to me it matters, and it is a good way to plan for the future development of our family.
hari ibintu udafite.
You may lie about some of the properties that you do not have, and when the person gets to know the truth, they lose trust in you. What builds a family is honesty. Civil registrars in local authorities, who are also in charge of explaining the law governing matrimonial regimes to couples that are about to get married, says that there is a gap that is caused by the fact that there are couples that start the journey to marriage without properly discussing on the matter. When we find out that they have not discussed about it, we give them time to do so before officiating their marriage. Sometimes they don't have the same understandings on the issue, and you may find that one wants separation of property regime and the other one wants the community of property regime, and then they disagree and choose to postpone the wedding. The community of property regime, limited community of property regime, and separation of property regime are types of matrimonial regimes that couples have to choose before getting married. Marie-Louise Mukashema, a legal advisor, points out the necessity for discussing on these matters before marriage, and also emphasized that those who are about to get married should discuss on it with honesty to avoid further consequences that may arise from it. It is necessary to be honest to each other about what they own. It is really important. But the local authorities should also help them by asking them what property they want to merge, and also ask them what they want to include, depending on how they have planned to manage their property. Lawyers, local authorities, and elderly people urge those who are planning to get married to carefully choose their future. Particularly, lawyers urge civil registrars to adequately explain to those who are about to get married this law in order to preserve the Rwandan community. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Olive, for this report. And moving ahead, residents living in Kabasanza site in Kamonyi district have been requesting for clarification from the administration about the utilization of the money they give after being assured that infrastructure will be built in the area, but they have been waiting in vain.
Residents living in one of the 18 sites in Kabasanza, Rwanda sector have said that there is an amount of money you pay when coming to live in this site. When you are going to buy a plot here, you have to pay almost 250,000 Rwandan francs. They say that the money is collected for infrastructure development in this site. However, they see no change. They have also said that they reported their issue to Kamonyi district officials and get no feedback. That is why they are requesting for advocacy.
What we want is that there should be a proper use of this service fee.
Kamonyi district officials have said that the money get deposited on the site's bank account, not on the district's account, and that the government is ready to support the site's residents' capabilities.
That man paid by a resident when he or she is going to do some renovation on his or her plot. Currently, the total amount which they paid for all plots here is 17%, but the aim was to construct the road and water paths. For now, we did our best in tracing water paths, and we think the government will also support us for better settlement.
The document explains the use of 250,000 charged from the person that is about to build the house in Kamonyi district. It shows that 35,000 is for the preparation of the master plan. Another 35,000 is paid to the district, and 80,000 equal to 40% is for road construction. 20% is for water distribution, and 15% is for electricity. 5% is paid for damaged crops. 10,000 is also charged as a bonus to the housing committee. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Various creative industry practitioners in Rwanda appreciate the implementation of the intellectual property law, which has completely limited people who used to violate copyrights in their own interests. Adam Squisera.
Eugene Pizzi is an artist working in Kigali City. In 2017, his artwork was infringed.
Once a person
in America asked me if I can do the artwork he was showing me. He asked me that while that artwork was behind me. Then I was surprised how a person came and took a picture of my artwork and then he forged it. I was saddened by the way it was forged poorly. Kanoheri Ruth, she's a music producer, also shows the benefits of intellectual property law, especially in their field.
What this law helped me is that now I feel safe with my artworks because I know that no one else would take it away or infringe it.
At least they tried. Since today, no one would dare violate your artwork as such because they know that they will be sued. They started to fear this thing after the amendment of this law. Richard Kayibanda, the Registrar General at Rwanda Development Board (RwandaTV), noted that there should be some efforts in encouraging people to register their intellectual properties in order to protect their activities.
We invest a lot into public awareness activities, including celebrating this World Intellectual Property Day, where we once again reflect on the role and the importance of intellectual property in our daily life for both the general community but also the owners of such rights, and we try to raise awareness about intellectual property rights.
Rwanda Investigative Bureau shows that in the last 3 years, from 2020, they received 133 cases related to the crime of intellectual property infringement. 328 people were suspected for committing this crime, whereas trademark infringement was at 30%, film copyright infringement was at the rate of 26.5%, while product infringement was at 18%. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
And on behalf of the entire news production as well as the technical team, thank you for being with us on this edition of Rwanda Television News. Up until next time, stay safe and have a great evening.